Hello Year 1. If you weren't able to join us for the Zoom session, then this week we are listening to traditional tales or fairy tales. After we've read the story, we'll talk about the beginning, the middle and the end. So today's story is Cinderella. I'm sure you all know Cinderella. Oh, there we go. Okay. Once upon a time, there lived a beautiful girl called Cinderella. Cinderella lived with two ugly sisters and her wicked stepmother. They were very unkind to Cinderella and made her do lots of hard work. One day, an invitation came from the palace that invited everyone to the prince's ball. You are invited. That means a big party. The wicked stepmother didn't allow Cinderella to go. You can't go. Oh. The day of the ball arrived and Cinderella was left at the house. Oh, I do wish I could go to the ball, she said. And just then a lovely old lady with a gold wand in her hand appeared in the room. I am your fairy godmother and you shall go to the ball, she said. The fairy godmother asked Cinderella to find her a pumpkin, 6 mice, a rat and 6 lizards. With the touch of her wand, the fairy godmother turned the pumpkin into a magnificent coach. The mice into 6 magnificent horses. The rat into a coachman, and the lizards into 6 footmen. Then the fairy godmother touched Cinderella with her wand. Cinderella's old dress turned into a beautiful gown, and on her feet were the prettiest glass slippers. Remember, you must leave the ball before the clock strikes 12, said the fairy godmother. Cinderella arrived at the ball. She looked so beautiful that everyone wondered who she was. The prince asked Cinderella to dance, and they danced together all night. Cinderella was enjoying herself so much that she didn't notice the time. Midnight approached, and the clock began to strike. Dong, dong, dong. Cinderella ran out of the palace. As she ran down the stairs, one of her glass slippers fell off. The prince ran after her, but he was too late. He found her glass slipper on the steps. The next morning, the prince went from house to house with the glass slipper. At last, the prince came to Cinderella's house. The first ugly sister tried on the slipper, but her foot was too wide. The second ugly sister tried on the slipper, but her foot was too long. Please may I try on the slipper? Asked Cinderella, and the slipper fit perfectly. The prince asked Cinderella to marry him, and they both lived happily ever after. The end. Well, that was a lovely story. Okay then, well Year 1, what we want to talk about is what happens at the beginning of the story, what happens in the middle of the story, and what happens at the end of the story. So let's have a little think. At the beginning of the story, where is Cinderella? She's in her house, isn't she? And she's upset because she's not allowed to go to the ball. So what I'd like you to do is draw a picture of Cinderella in her old dress, maybe cleaning in the house, and her horrible sisters. They could be there or they could be getting ready for the party. In the middle of the story, she goes to the party, doesn't she? So you could draw her dancing with the prince like she is there. Or maybe you could draw her arriving in her carriage. And of course her slipper falls off, doesn't it? And then at the end of the story, the prince finds her and they get married. So your job is to draw a picture that happens at the beginning, a picture that happens somewhere around the middle, and something that happens at the end. Now let's just remind ourselves as well, this is a fairy tale, so there is a prince, there is a princess, there are baddies, so this time they're the ugly sisters, there's magic, the fairy godmother's magic, isn't she? And there's a happy ending. So we're going to compare that to tomorrow's story. Okay, you want to send me your pictures when you're finished, okay? Bye-bye.